I'm Dr. Mark Hatala, and I want to welcome you to my office. I'm a cognitive scientist who studies time travel and retrocausality, which is how the future impacts the present and the past. And today what I want to talk to you about is luck, specifically in terms of the lottery. And I'll start it off with a personal anecdote. So this is back many years ago when I was in college, and my friend Mad Dog and I, try to guess how he got his name, were picking up my friend Tom to go out for some kind of an adventure. Now, Tom's parents were avid lottery players, the pick 3 at the time. And they hadn't drawn the lottery number yet. But Tom's mom walked into the room and she said, "Did they pick the number?" And Mad Dog said, "Yeah, it was 186. And they hadn't picked the number yet. 30 seconds later, they pick the number and it comes up 186. Everybody gasps, and Tom's mom asked, "What's the number for tomorrow?" So she maintained being level-headed. How did he pick that? I have no idea. He had a 1 in 1,000 chance of picking it. But that's one of those quirky things. Now, people play the lottery all the time. The most recent year that I have numbers for, which is 2017, people spent $71 billion on playing the lottery. Now, most people let the machine pick their numbers for them because it's perceived randomness. But many, many people tend to play the same numbers over and over again. So the most common numbers picked, for pick 3, 000, 111, 222, you get the idea. Same thing with pick 4, 000, 1111, etc. Now, this created a near calamity in North Carolina in 2019 because on June 21st, the pick 3 number was 111. And then 2 days later, the pick 4 was 0000. And then the next week, the pick 3 was again 000. And so that was a hard week for the North Carolina State Lottery. Another thing that people tend to use, bizarrely in my opinion, is airline disasters. And so, for example, on September 11th, 2002, the one-year anniversary of the 9/11 attacks, the number that came up in the New York State Lottery was 9/11. And so they had to pay out $500 apiece to 5,631 winners. There was also an airline crash in 2001 that the flight number was 587 and it crashed right after takeoff. The pick 3 number that day, 587. So you can look up other examples. There's many. When Sulliway landed his plane in the Hudson River, people were playing his flight number too. And so there is that. One more interesting story, I think, it was a Powerball drawing, and this was in March 30th, 2005. And there was one winner, but there were 110 second place winners. And that's unusual because there's usually only 5 second place winners for the number of people that had played that day. And so the other thing that was bizarre is everyone who came in second place picked the same wrong Powerball. They picked 40 when the right number was 42. So they did an investigation because they thought that this could be some kind of, and they were in 27 different states too. And so how did they all pick all the same numbers and get the wrong number all the same too? So they did an investigation, and it turned out that they'd all played the same numbers because they'd all gotten fortune cookies from the Wonton Foods of Long Island, and they just played those numbers. And they just happened to come up for the Powerball. Ironically, the person who won had their numbers chosen randomly. So you might be asking yourself, all of this is about retrocausality, which is the future impacting the present. And this is the past. This is like where people are playing numbers from airline accidents and fortune cookies. There is some science behind this too, but you're going to be disappointed. They've done research on the numbers that are picked in Mega Millions drawings, and some numbers do come up disproportionately and some numbers don't come up disproportionately. But all that goes away depending on the time frame that you look at, because these are probabilistically independent events. And so a pattern can emerge, but then it goes away if you look at, say, 10 years of data versus 5 years of data. But I do want to talk about the curious case of Robert Umami, who was a PhD mathematics. Well, he wasn't a professor, though. He got a PhD in mathematics, and then he was selling advertising for computers. But what he did was he decided to use science, theta waves, to generate his numbers. So to not go into the science too deeply, basically your brain emits 4 different types of waves. Alpha waves are associated with things like relaxation. Beta waves are like if you're interacting with other people. Delta waves are when you're asleep. And theta waves are when you are like daydreaming, and if you're doing activities that are kind of, you know how like creative ideas can come to you like in the shower or when you're driving, if you're driving a long distance, or maybe you're running or something like that. So what Robert decided to do was try to tap into his theta waves. So what he said he did was, he said he got a lottery sheet and he just went into this theta thing where he just started daydreaming, and that it felt like he was in a train in a tunnel, and that numbers just started coming at him and he just wrote them down. Okay, so he played those numbers for 2.5 years and eventually hit the jackpot of $22 million. Now, he had originally envisioned that it would change his life, but he decided that the only money that he spent, he bought his wife some diamond earrings, and he gave $1 million to UC Berkeley, which is where he got his PhD from, in his advisor's name. That he was happy with his life. He just wanted to see if he was correct about this. And in the end, his advice was, it's sheer stupidity to play the lottery. So that's his view of it. So the reason I think this is interesting from a retrocausal standpoint is everyone else uses the past in order to determine their numbers. But Robert saw into the future. Now, he didn't know, he knew the right numbers, he knew the correct sequence, he just didn't know when it would hit. And so he waited 2.5 years, and then boom, he was the winner. So, luck, understood correctly, is a retrocausal phenomena, or at least it can be. Now, if you find this interesting, I would encourage you to buy my book, Psychology and Retrocausality. I would also encourage you to visit us on the web at retrocausality.org, because we're trying to identify people who are retrocausally sensitive, and so you might be one of those people. Please like, subscribe, and share this video, and otherwise I will see you in the future, and have a great day.